All right, we're rolling. It's Freedom Phil. What's the topic? I want to talk about just a phenomenon I've noticed when it comes to hunting. You have the noble kind of hunter, and then you have the ignoble hunter. You have the people that are middle of the road kind of opportunists. And sometimes you'll see some of these people out there, and they're what I refer to as like the redneck royalty, the people that are on the system. They'll complain about liberals, but then they'll take the check, bleed the beast. That's the line I've heard people say. But I got up this morning, and it was 5 something in the morning, long before the sun was up. And I see, as I'm going to use the facilities, this star off in the distance at the hill. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, wow, that's really bright. Is that a planet or is that a plane? Because sometimes that happens. They come over the horizon for a minute, and then they get, like, okay, that's a plane. And then it moves all Hume like. And I'm like, oh, I got an asshole out there. I didn't hear any gunshots or anything like that. There's probably someone out there spotlighting for little creatures. I have a certain level of disdain for such people. I could understand if this was years ago before welfare and literally you really were feeding your family, but that's not the case. There isn't really much out here. I mean, if you really want to feed your family, there's feral cattle out here. When I say feral, they are owned by a particular rancher. And by the way, I think that guy is an American hero. But, there's not a lot. I've never seen a deer out here. There probably exists somewhere. There's probably some bighorn sheep or some type of rams up there on the mountains. But there isn't much here. So you got your coyotes, your little tiny cat-sized foxes. They're like the fennec fox of the Americas. And then you've got, some ravens, handful of hawks. There's really not much. There's rodents occasionally. And by the way, those little foxes are the best rodent control you could ever ask for. So you sit there and think to yourself, I'm like, what the hell are you hunting? And allegedly, there's tortoises around here. I have yet to see one around here. I have seen one further south of Vegas. That was an experience. Why does the tortoise cross the road? Food or pussy? Got to keep that cloaca active. But yeah, there's really not much out here. So I'm like, okay, some fucking asshole probably spotlight hunting, trying to peg some little animal. And I can understand the coyotes to a certain degree. There are farmers if you go yonder that way. And if you go yonder this way a few miles, there's farmers over there. So coyotes are an issue to a degree. I mean, but if you got a coyote that's all the way out here in the middle of nowhere, and by the way, the years that I've been here before, I have never seen a coyote come close to my camp. Up above the old highway, the decommissioned original highway. I've seen a glimmer of once or twice of one up there. You got to go a little bit deeper to get away. Honestly, the animals are smart about that. They're trying to get away from the people. And then there's also some roads here and there that have been shut off for years, So if you know where they are and you can actually see them from Google Earth, once upon a time, people, and sometimes you'll still see at night, you'll see people run their pickup trucks on roads that aren't really roads anymore, but they kind of are if you know how to get into them. And they're out there spotlighting because, that's what a man does. But yeah, there's coyotes across the river. I have yet to see one near the river ever. You hear them every once in a while. But so there's really not much around here to really, if you're going to make the argument that you were going to hunt, you need to feed the family. I mean, okay, I guess you're feeding them some cat-sized fox, and maybe a fucking coyote. Well, that must taste good. How much gas did you spend on that? And then what I'm getting at with that statement there is the money and the time that you spent coming out here. You literally could have just went to Walmart and bought 10 pounds of chicken, for $8 like $8. The argument that I'm feeding my family, I don't know what market there is anymore for hides like that. I mean, I know some medieval fairs, those old style Western rendezvous, they probably like that stuff. And, there's probably some small market for it. But for the most part, and I can understand maybe the old school hunter who wants to, like, they kill some animal and they go to get a taxidermy job done it on, and they mount it. I could kind of understand that, but I still think they're kind of douchey hunting, especially if you're out here. One of the reasons I park where I park is because there's not a lot of people out here, which means the little foxes and the coyotes actually kind of exist, which they kill off the rodents. The places where there's a lot of people north of Mesquite, that place is full of rodents. And it's because there's lots of dogs, which then scare off the predators, but then there's lots of food. It gets dropped everywhere. Then the rodents come along. And then you got your little ground squirrels, you got your mice. And then you got your, I swear to God, the kangaroo rat looks like a gerbil, with a lift kit. Like, it's like a T-Rex gerbil. It's got these huge movable legs and a big ass long tail, and they're pretty cool. And I actually felt bad when I was at the other area and I had to use mouse traps. Out here, I don't have to use mouse traps. Nice. So the wildlife keeps the wildlife in check, which is really how it's supposed to be. So when do we bring it back to the hunters? Deer can be an issue. Too many deer, too many problems. Allegedly there's wild pigs around here. I've never seen one. What happened ages ago is up in the canyon coming out of Utah into Arizona, a pig truck rolled over, and it's happened a few times over the years. Pigs get out, and then they go feral. They're just like, well, screw it, we got to live. And then so these pigs, allegedly, they're around here somewhere, and they're quite the meat wagon if you think about it. But I've never seen one. I've only heard of legends of them. And some people say they stay in the river bottoms and that type of stuff where there's water and there's greenery. But even then, when I was in those places, I saw no evidence of it. So I don't know, maybe just a local legend. Imagine that's the only place you're probably going to find deer as well. Because I've never seen an antelope or anything like that. When it comes to actual hunting, like something as problematic like deer, too many deer, car accidents, pigs, wild pigs, I totally get that. Even elk, like I could get it occasionally, take an elk out, okay? But the people that just come out here and just shoot shit, I kind of have the same view that I have for, like, we hear about these predators in, what do you call it? Like England. What do you mean England? I'm talking about these migrants that show up and they're predicating on little kids. And you think to yourself, there's no way you don't know that it's wrong to grab somebody and do that to them. But once somebody has like the shiftless morals, like they have the morals of I'm the opportunist and I can just do whatever I want because, you're not going to stop me. And they just do it. That's kind of the way I look at those type of people and someone who just kills for fun in the same light. There's something evil in that person. In the sense that you're not out there for any reason other than just getting your kicks. And that's kind of the way I look at a lot of sport hunting in general. Like when you're just out there, and I guess it depends. If it's something that we can manufacture, like you produce a ton of fish, put them in a lake, and then people go out there and try to catch the whopper. Maybe that goes on the wall, or it becomes the contest. I get that because we can manufacture that. But when it comes to like something where you go out into the wilderness and you're just like, I'm bored, I'm going to shoot something because I can. It reminds me of that same twinge of evil that you see in people. Like there's no logical reason that you're doing this. It's not for food. It's not because it's a predator going after your chickens or some bullshit. No, it's quite literally you're just a drunk, bored hillbilly and you can kill things. And as long as you get away with it, why wouldn't you keep on doing it? It's like somebody who poaches timber and gets away with it as well. It's one of those gigs where, people keep doing what they do because there's no punishment for it. In fact, one could argue if you're not being punished for bad behavior, then you're being more rewarded from the bad behavior. And so it's just, yeah, I don't mind people that hunt for a decent reason, but I'm tired of the old adage edge. Oh, I'm doing this to feed my family. No, you're doing it because you like wild game. And look, I get it. You go out and hunt pheasants, turkeys, ducks, geese, you know, deer, elk. If you can get a moose tag, same thing with elk sometimes. You're out there because you enjoy it, and if you get a whole freezer full of meat, that's great. But you're not going to ever convince anybody on the argument that you're somehow saving money doing this. No, because you got to go all the way out there, and in the same amount of time that you were out there fucking around in the woods or the desert, you could have literally just worked a day's work and filled your whole freezer full of meat. But I like wild game. That's it. That's really it. You like wild game. And okay, that type of hunter I don't mind so much. But the ones that get out, like I said before, the ones that get on my nerves are the ones that are just out shooting animals because they're fucking bored. And it always reminds me as a closing thought. You remember that, was it Crocodile Dundee movie, where the movie starts out with some assholes, some, Australian version of a redneck out there shooting a bunch of kangaroos. And then one of the kangaroos points a gun at him. And it's Dundee taking a stuffed raccoon or a dead raccoon and shooting back at him. If the animals could fight back, and I guess I should make this point, if someone wants to act like, oh, look at me, I'm a man, I got this deer, and it's like, I'm sorry, you're using a high-powered rifle, and it's not even like a Northwest hunt where there's trees in the way and like Salau, like the deer lays down and it's gone. No, it's out there in the middle of the desert, like this type of place, or Eastern or Washington or Eastern Oregon or Northern Nevada. Please don't act like this is some great noble hunt here. You literally spotted it from God knows how far away, and if you were a good shot, you got something. It's down there just kind of doing its thing, eating some food, and then it's like poop dead, like. And honestly, probably the best thing for it that could happen in that case, because if the adrenaline kicks in, the meat will taste like shit. Please don't try to convince me that was some battle. You want to talk about a battle? I mean, something that's stalking you. Now that's a hunt. Something that intentionally, it's like let's say they got a rogue tiger or a rogue lion, as rare as that is. Something a rogue elephant, and it's intending to wipe you out. And let's just change up the weaponry. You don't get a modern rifle. Maybe you get like a spear or one of the, what do they call those spear chuckers back in the day, the Atal, the Atl or whatever it was. Maybe we'll give you a classic bow, not a modern tech bow. No, you got to do this the fucking hard way, brother. You got to go make your own arrow points and all that shit. That guy, if like we're talking like if we got some like Arnold Schwarzenegger Predator type of level shit, that's the guy that I'm like, no, that guy, that's a man. But some dickhead out here spotlighting for little animals, and just like sometimes is it the line you'll hear from some people with the high-powered rifles is there anything left? Like, whoa, wow, that was you're a man. And just like with the pickup trucks and all the other bullshit, I get it. You're all compensating for something that you don't have in your pants. The TPS is real with some of these people, and it's cultural as well. That's just the truth of it. Yeah, that culture. Let's just go out and shoot some shit. And that's kind of why some people will look at the Second Amendment. I am a big proponent of the Second Amendment. Much like voting, I think there's a whole lot of people that really shouldn't. There's a lot of dumb fucking people with guns and a lot of dumb people that vote. And then you get your redneck royalty types that'll complain about the liberal government. Like, I'm not a fan of the liberals either, but like, you'll complain about the liberal government, but then you'll be living on the system. Yeah. That's the people you run into, usually meth heads, that have the time to be out here early in the morning hunting. Anyhow, that's my thoughts. Take it easy. Peace.